Okay, I'm in a car, so it's going to be a little awkward. What I've been doing, I want to start the Deva-Gosvāmī, but I haven't yet been able to do that. As you'll see, I'm in a car right now. Haven't been able to do that. I took the red-eye flight from Cali. So that was not last night, but the night before. So, yeah, let me, give me a second. I'll do the following the angels and we'll comment. 1 second. Okay, so Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnana-timirandasya Dhananjana Shalakaya. Taksurunmalatam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale. Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam. Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha. Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So greetings from New Jersey. The first, when I'm chanting the Prem Bhwani, the first thought that came into my mind is gratitude. Grateful that you're all here and that I can speak Krishna-katha, because this is really one of the things that Prabhupada gave. Sometimes you say preaching, sharing, outreach, but when you have to reproduce something, it's such an absorption, and we advance in spiritual life by our absorption on on Krishna, and a manifestation of Krishna. There's 9 processes of devotional service. Anyone can lead you to perfection, but the key is how much you can remain absorbed. And of course, hearing is so important, because the object of your meditation actually literally enters into your body in terms of that sound vibration. So hearing is really the first Shravanam Kirtanam. Hearing is the first essential. What about the first something Prabhupada said, the first essential? But in the same sense, when you're speaking, especially when you have to give a class or share Krishna consciousness to another person, then it's really intense absorption. You don't really leave I don't know, any other activity. Even japa, the mind wanders, but when you're actually reproducing something, it's such an intense, because you're chanting, you're hearing, and the mind is so absorbed in the subject matter. So I'm just really appreciating it. I'll make a joke, even though I'm in New Jersey. I was hankering for Govardhan, where there's such external impetus. There's Udipan. Udipan is the external impetus that lights Krishna consciousness. But the real thing is to be absorbed in Krishna consciousness. It's better to be in New Jersey thinking of Govardhan than being in Govardhan thinking of New York. But obviously there's some real potency there to remain absorbed. And therefore, in traditional houses in India, they had a sacred space. they had a space for God, a room, a puja room, where nothing else enters. So the external atmosphere is not challenging to your meditation and absorption in Krishna. And when you do that, then that becomes as good as Vrindavan. There was a famous, becoming famous, I don't even know his name, I guess, in certain circles he's famous, but I know there's this very, very popular Indian sadhu who lives in Madame Terre in Vrindavan. And he was giving lectures on Vrindavan Mahimamrita, the nectarian great glories of Vrindavan. But he made one nice point. He said, it's best to stay in Vrindavan. But if you go out of Vrindavan to share Vrindavan, then that's the exact same thing. And I once heard, I think it was Śrīla Dhanurdhara Swami give an analogy. He said that the holy dhams, it's like when you're in the Netherlands, the land is below the water level. That's why they build dikes. So therefore, the land is very naturally irrigated. Without effort, it's irrigated. You just have to open the dikes. But if you're on a mountain and you have a system, to bring, in a mountain, you have a system to bring the water up to the mountain, then it's not different. So that's the same way it is in the Western countries. It's more natural in Vrindavan, but if you're here and you have sacred space and you have some absorption, then it can be the same. So I'm just reflecting on the just being here in New York, because I was just in Cali, Colombia, and I was living in the ashram, which is like Vrindavan. You live in the ashram, it's beautiful. And there's nothing but Krishna. Nice, beautiful temple room and prasad offered to the deities and devotees and programs, etc. But anyway, Prabhupada left to go to the west, Prithvichi Achi Yati Nagaradi Gram. We can't underestimate Srila Prabhupada's authority in our lineage, because after all, he's the one that Prithvichi Yati Achi Nagaradi Gram fulfilled the prediction. I think it's in Chaitanya Bhagavat, or a statement by Lord Chaitanya that Prithvichi Achi Yati Nagaradi, in every town and village, my holy name will be spoken, and fulfilling that prophecy. Who, before Prabhupada, honestly speaking, it was trying to reconcile it. How is this possible? What does this mean? Does it mean India? But it says Prithvichi, it says the whole world, but you actually meant India. When you don't understand something that the Acharya says, you don't dismiss it. And you may not, you have two choices. One, it's true. I just don't have the capacity to understand it. I understand what the teacher is saying, but I don't yet have the capacity to understand it. Or you have the option is, I don't understand what the teacher is saying. I'm not going to accept my own misunderstanding of it. And in the future, I'll actually understand what he means. But that authority of the Acharya is so important. And I'm reading from a book by Srila Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Mahārāja, who I said Prabhupada, when Prabhupada was a Grihastha, he stayed in his house. They studied Bhagavad Gita. They had a very close relationship. And he also has that chastity. In fact, today I was thinking, what am I going to speak on? And in Kali, I spoke on the Venu Geet, Krishna blowing on the flute. And, you know, according to the audience, there's always a way to make it relevant. I'm going to Joe Cayley and Krunapurna's house. So I'm thinking, what should I do? Maybe I'll speak on that. And then I said, I'm going to speak today on this book, I Lost My Place. And I opened it up to the section where we don't speak on higher leelas and how strong Bhakti Siddhanta was. He said sometimes they have dioramas of Ras Leela in temples and Jhulan Yatra, but I don't do that because my Guru Maharaj was not into that. He didn't analyze it. Why this? And my Guru Maharaj said, there's a mechanism in the mind that allows you to try to comprehend things that are true, but beyond the lens of your limited prejudice and understanding. So faith is an important mechanism in knowledge. And actually, Prabhupada credits his whole success in Krishna consciousness to that one point. That one of devotional service, the Gita said, should be resolute in his determination. Bahu shaka yanantascha, not many branched, resolute in one's determination. And the commentary by Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur says that one should accept the order of the spiritual master as one's life and soul. So actually tomorrow, coming attractions, I have a really interesting Monday morning greetings that's coming out that is not just a Monday morning greetings, it's a doctrinal paper I wrote. It started off as a Monday morning greetings, but it extended far more. And I've been working on it actually for a couple of weeks. Not consistently, because that's not the way I write. I write a little and I think, and then I write and then I think. And it's called Inherent, Inherited, and the Culture of Faith. And it discusses this. What is the culture of faith? How much a society prioritizes, a Vaishnava society prioritizes the mechanism of faith. And I even quoted from the Bhagavatam that even Lord Krishna, there's a section on brahmachari in the 11th canto, I believe. And in that, it says the brahmachari, reverently worships the elders and this and that, and this and that, and the acharya. And then it says guru and acharya to differentiate, and worships that. And then the very next verse, what does Krishna says? Acharya mam vijanayam navamanyet takarichit. One should accept the acharya as my very self. One should not envy him in any way. And very interesting, Krishna understands that due to envy, because authority compromises our control and our selfish enjoyment, and therefore Krishna says that there's a tendency, this is 5,000 years ago, do not envy him or her, do not envy. The charge my very self, because he understands the tendency there to be resentful of truth, which doesn't conform with our desires to control and enjoy the world. is such a tendency that even those worthy of the greatest respect, we have to watch out for the envy or the resentfulness. Well, let's read, because I really like. He says, the all-important factor is seva. We must want everything for his satisfaction, not our satisfaction. Vaisheshika Prabhu, brilliant Vaishnava, gave a class. And I made a seminar after hearing that class. I have to remember what that class is, what the title was. But he quoted someone that, it may have been Dale Carnegie or some motivational speaker, that if you're ever in anxiety, find someone to serve. Flip the switch to service. Because the anxiety is all on the platform of the false ego, the false conception of the self, where my control, my enjoyment, it's compromised by ego, insulted, relationships. So switch it to service, which brings you to the platform of the soul and the platform of satisfaction. So he says the all-important factor, we must want everything for his satisfaction, not our satisfaction. We read that as our happiness is being compromised, but a spiritual person will read that is that not that our happiness is being compromised, but the method of happiness is, because selfishness is not happiness. We work for our own selfishness, for those myriad of impressions and desires in the hearts, but who became happy by following their whims? Who became happy by following their whims? Service. When I was in Colombia, I was speaking to one nice man, came to the ashram. And it's kind of interesting. I believe he was the president of the synagogue. And his wife is kind of like my disciple. There's no problem with that. So he was speaking to me, and I knew his business. He has a successful business. He opened up an office in Miami. It's international. And I asked him if he's going to move there, because sometimes in Colombia, there's threats of social unrest, and now there's an election. They're worried about, the richer people are worried about maybe a more Venezuelan type leader. These things come up. And, he said, no, he said, but my anxiety here is the great disparity of wealth. He's a businessman, so he started something. He's into conscious capitalism, which is not a bad idea, because capitalism, it's a factor even in Vedic society that there are people that have that kind of mentality and attachment, and they produce for the society. They produce wealth for the society. It's just a principle. But it has to be very careful that if the discrepancy is too far, then people will bring down the whole thing. So he started something in his business. I forgot what it is, where it engages part of his business. He has many ideas, part of his business and part of the workers, in some kind of altruistic work. And he told me how much the office, how happy the people in the office were. How happy the people were in the office were. You may make money, but that itself doesn't make you happy. Of course, the result of it, maybe people get some, but as an activity, it was the service. So we must want everything for his satisfaction, not our satisfaction. Seva means dedication, the land of dedication. We want to enter into the land of dedication, and the land of exploitation leaves of us. So the material world is the land of exploitation. People are here to put themselves in the center. And that's all this mess and conflict we have around the world. It is simply due to that consciousness on left or right. It's simply due to that consciousness. And therefore there's conflict because there's so many different centers. So how do you like it? How do you like all living in the land of exploitation? Are you having a great time here? Maybe we should put advertisements for the spiritual world. We should put signs in Goloka Vrindavan. Enjoy. Come to New Jersey. The Garden State. What? The law. I haven't read this statistic, but I'm sure it's true. The most car dealerships per square mile in the world. I'm riding on this highway now. Every car dealership in the world, one after another, left and right. There's shopping malls and car dealerships. High percentage per square mile. Just like Vrindavan has 5,000 temples, New Jersey has 5,000 car dealerships. I'm not kidding you either. They just opened a new Tesla one in Asbury Park for those of you who want an electric car. It's a land of exploitation. He said, leave it to the land of dedication. I think it was Śrīla Mahārāja that made the same point that here everyone's trying to be guru, but when you enter into the spiritual world, your vision is everyone is guru except me. And that's the position of happiness. And people don't understand this. People don't understand this. I was explaining it to someone who I had given some service, and then they got really, really super busy, legitimately busy. And a service they were doing for a long time, they couldn't do it. And then they came to see me, and then I explained to them that this is the priority. The priority is you're the one that's serving the prasadam. It's a greater priority than the one who is eating the prasadam. And what is bhakti? Bhakti is a liking or a desire for service. A liking or desire for service. And I was explaining to them from the Bhagavatam, when the cowherd boys came to the Brahmins, it's one of my favorite leelas, one that I speak on all the time. When they came there, they said to the cowherd boys, we come to, ask for some food for Krishna. Bhadram te. All auspiciousness to you. And this is what auspiciousness is. Auspiciousness is his service. One should value and cherish service. This is my service. Seva. So he's saying that no one can thrive in the land of exploitation. And what he described before, the enjoyment in the material world, in our life in the material world, is like enjoying by taking out a loan. America, the land of enjoyment. And that Union Square thing where every minute we're more and more in debt and someone's going to have to pay for that. And even if they think we enjoy now and then, the debt will go on to our kids. But no, there's the law of karma. There's a law of karma. And to the extent that we take more than what we need is the extent that we will have to pay that back. No one can thrive. No one can thrive. No one can thrive in the land of exploitation. That is a loan. Exploitation means we are incurring a loan and we have to repay it. We are bound. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. We will devour ourselves. It is suicidal. Sorry on this wonderful sunny Sunday morning that you have to hear hell, brimstone, and fire for Mahārāja. If you're not suffering enough, let me tell you that you really are suffering and you will continue to suffer. You will continue to suffer. That's the nature of the material world. We're suffering, but we don't want to admit it. Well, we admit it, but still we think that things we're doing for happiness are not contributing to it. Prabhupada tells that story where the preacher, hell, brimstone, and fire, goes to the coal mines and starts preaching about hell. And they're thinking, what's so bad? It's just like our work environment. And then the preacher thought, what will I do? And he says, and in hell, there are no newspapers. And they said, no, 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 no. That would like be saying to us, in hell, there will be no social media. No, no, I don't want to go there. In hell, there will be no social media. For us, we're actually thinking it would be hell if we had no social. How would we live? What happens if the internet, the cybersecurity war goes on and all the social media goes out? What we'll be doing, we'll be grappling on the floor trying to fix it, calling up some Russian expert, figure my phone out, get me on, I need to be. And actually speaking, the way the modern world is constructed, we are dependent on it. Because we don't live in a village where we walk across the street and there's Krishna-katha. And we just walk in, and there are our friends. You know, when I walk in Govardhan, I go through the village of Anayur. It's so simple. It's so simple, but at least they have a community. Their friends are right nearby. So we are bound. Exploiting civilization is suicidal. It must devour itself. How prophetic. When I was in Kali, you know, Jai Jagannath would give his phone Zoom class, or what he does, it's Zoom class on the computer every day. So he would sit in kind of the nice small dining room of the hacienda. And I would go every morning. He's really deep. He's really learned. Many, many good points. So I went once, and then I said, well, no, I'll go. My schedule to go. I want to hear good philosophy. And Prabhupada left over 40 years ago, and his purports were written 50 years ago. And 40 years ago in America, I remember when America was a wealthy country, when my father worked and my mother didn't. And we had a big 3-bedroom house in Brooklyn on 50 by 100 square feet of land or something like that. Some nice weeping willow trees in the backyard. And we even had an apartment. We had an apartment that we rented out. That would be considered an extremely wealthy person in America. But today, so I was going to make a point, and I kind of got lost in a little bob there. Let me think if I can remember it. We were, oh yeah. So at that particular time, we can all become hippies because you didn't need to work. When I came to Krishna consciousness, I was visiting my friend who wasn't working, who was a hippie, who was renting a house in Hollywood. So America was such a wealthy country, you didn't even have to work. So maybe when we were hearing Prabhupada's purports, we didn't take him as seriously. Maybe they seemed like too heavy. Prabhupada calling the scientists rascals and this person rascals and the world and the global demons and so many things. But now, if you look at the world, his purports don't seem heavy at all. It just seems to be an honest news account of what's going on in the world. So here it's the same thing. He's saying, exploiting civilization is suicidal. It must devour itself. Who can deny that? Who can deny that? It is living on a loan from nature. How proudly they show their heads raised high, but their welfare is all on loan from nature. It is extorted from nature, and the debt must be satisfied to the last cent. Pride and boasting are all negative. No positive contribution comes from the civilization of exploitation. Exploitation must stop. Exploitation means to extort many things from others, and that must be repaid. It is a natural law. This civilization is worth nothing. I'm not even going to qualify that. We must enter into the land of dedication, and everything will be preserved. Neha, this is me. Neha bikamanasho sti pratyavayo navidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. In this endeavor of Krishna consciousness, there is no loss or diminution, and it will save one from the greatest type of fear. Whatever contribution we make will be saved. However, we won't draw any benefit. We will only shall deposit our contribution. It is there in the land of dedication, a new land, a land of wonder. We want to enter, to have admission there. Exploitation is hateful in itself, and dedication is the pure of the pure. We want to be residents of that other land. We must take anything from there. We won't take anything from there as it's pure, and there the land is gradated. It's gradated in terms of the intensity of pure devotion. The gradation of purity is according to its intensity, quality, and quantity. In other words, how much service you do, the quality of the service you do, and the intensity. In this way, Vichitra, nature is variegated, and on the highest gradation is spontaneous love and beauty in the land of Krishna. So it's so nice how he's speaking very basic philosophy and works his way up to the foundational principle of the speciality of Krishna consciousness. And what's the speciality of Krishna consciousness is that it is ragmarg, it is spontaneous devotion, because it is not made weak by any, and weak is a very relative term, because I can't diminish reverential love and pure devotion in any way, but on a comparative way, as the Chaitanya Charitamrita says, that that devotion that is reverential, there is obligation, fear, and distance. In devotion that's reverential, there's obligation, I must do it. There's fear if I don't. And there's distance, I can't get close. So somehow or other, that's not as spontaneous is when you have Krishna is my child, Krishna is my lover, Krishna is my friend. So in gradation, that love is somehow more forceful, more powerful. The dedication of the gopis is of the highest degree. They are willing to remain eternally in hell in order to remove a little pain, a fictitious pain, Krishna's pretended headache. This type of dedication is the highest. You know, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the very last chapter is called the Shikshastika prayers. And basically what the Shikshastika prayers is Lord Chaitanya, it's at the end of his life, and he's reflecting on his mission to taste Krishna consciousness, his mission to distribute Krishna consciousness. And while he's reflecting on it, he begins, a Shikshastakam, he begins to glorify the holy name. And all those verses, in one sense, are glorifying the depth of chanting, Cheto Dharpanam Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Trekaraya Chandrikaranam Vidya Bhadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Punam Nistas Vardhanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan. And then he's meditating on those verses, and the last verse is the highest level of devotion. And there's a commentary on that last verse by Lord Chaitanya, or by Krishna's Kaviraj or Lord Chaitanya. When I get to it, I'll figure it out. But that's Ashli Shiva Pararatam Panastamam Madarshanam Mamahatam Karotuva. You may make me brokenhearted by your embrace. You may make me sad by not being present, but you're my Lord, birth after birth. The gopis, they're telling Srimati Radharani, stay away from this rascal Krishna, the cheater. He's not reliable. He lies to you. And then says, Ashli Shiva Padaratav, I love intensely. And then he's giving the example of the headache. Krishna has a headache and no one wants to give him deaths, even the pure devotees, because to touch a superior with your feet is the greatest offense, because that's the lowest part of your body. But to touch a superior's feet, that's the highest thing you can do, because that's the lowest part of his body, and still you're showing respect. So they didn't want to give, but the gopis, and Narada said, aren't you worried we'll go to hell? Let us go to hell, but let Krishna's headache be cured. How beautiful. How beautiful. Just for Krishna, just for Krishna, just for another. It's not, and how unbeautiful, I don't know if I made that word up, not beautiful, is me, all day long, me. And what is it saying? He doesn't have that in the consciousness. And Prabhupada and Bhakti Siddhanta was so careful that the devotees, in the name of Krishna consciousness, don't fall into that consciousness. Even Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, I'm advanced. No. They wanted seva, the mood of service. That's the foundation of all the rasas. Dasya rasa is the foundation, the mood of service. If you don't have the mood of service and you don't see the mood of service, then the meditation on Radha and Krishna, you won't see it as service. You'll see it as a reflection of the intensity in this world to exploit and control. You know, because I traveled, traveling increases bhakti, traveling increases passion. So maybe I should do this more often and give more of these hell, brimstone, and fire classes. Okay. Asli Shiva Padaratam Panashtumam Adarshanam Mama Atam Karotuha. That kind of love, that sort of attitude, such intense dedication, the acme of dedication can never make us separate from Krishna. Because the separation from Krishna, I mentioned this many times, the separation from Krishna can only be consciousness. As Śrīdhara used to quote a Hegel or something, where there is no circumference, the center is everywhere. The Prahlad Mahārāja story is Krishna in this pillar. Is Krishna in this pillar. It's consciousness. Fantastic. Satavatsala Sampagamyo Vayor Tapi Manaso Bodhipum. Distance, it's another realm which we cross by the intensity of our faith, which means our conviction and desire that serving Krishna, serving God is the highest thing. That's our faith. And when you fully have that faith, you are there because it's a lack of faith that brings us here. We have faith here in controlling and enjoying. And therefore, we're in the world of exploitation, which allows us to do that. What does dedication mean? Dedication, when manifest in its highest state, is union and separation. Ostentatiously may be driven away from him, but in the heart, our faithfulness is increasing in degree. So dedication, you're not with God, but you want to be with God. So you're in union with God because the object that was external before you now goes into your heart and is fully manifest in one's thoughts of Krishna, in one's chanting of Krishna, in one's hearing of Krishna. When it's done with that faith that this is the greatest thing, and because I am separated from it, I feel the greatest loss. In your absence, a moment becomes 12 years. But in that type of consciousness, we are directly in communion with Krishna. If we are punished, still we should adhere to his service. The connection, the link will become invulnerable. Even by separation, by any sort of punishment, we cannot be detached. This is the highest form of unity seen in the deepest plane. No one can take this thing away from me if we have a connection of such quality. Trying to. 1 second. Okay, time's flying when you're having a good time. Ashi Shiva Padaratam Panastumam Badarshanam Marma Atam Karoti. Stage by stage, it is going deeper and higher. adarshana mamahatam karotava yata yata badadhatu lumpate. Even what is our right, our rightful claim may be given to others in front of our eyes. That also cannot detract from our high ideal. When we acquire such a dedicated nature, we are relieved to that extent. We come within the jurisdiction of Krishna's confidence. By dealing in this way, we cannot be separated. We cannot enter the area of the highest confidential. You shut the heat. Yeah, at least temporarily. When we are free from exploitation and posted in the plane of service, dedication, then hate is eliminated and we embrace everything. I'm just going to read the rest of this section. It's long, and then only the spirit of dedication can make it possible to embrace everything. 1 second.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Okay, I'm back. Great. Wait, only the host can share in this meeting. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear
We
me?
can hear you. We can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay, great. All right. Wait. Okay, 1 second. I'm trying to just get here. Just give me one minute here. Okay. Just make a little announcement. We had a wonderful retreat in college. Fantastic kirtans. Everything was just perfect. When Sham Sundari asked me afterwards, do you have any suggestions? I couldn't think of one thing. It went so well. And I'm pretty critical about these things. So if anybody is interested, I'll get up the details soon, but it'll be sometime around Janmashtami. They want to have the retreat during Janmashtami there, which would be really a wonderful Janmashtami festival. Okay, anybody else like to say hello?
Haribol Mahārāja.
Hey, oh, Jamuna Jaya. Okay, you have anything to add here?
I loved your fire and brimstone as you're driving through New Jersey. I thought it was wonderful as you were saying, like things like, who can enjoy exploitation? I felt like there was passing a billboard saying that as you were driving through. So
you know the funny thing, you know what a great oxymoron is? The garden state.
Oh, right.
It has less green than any place in the world. Even in India, when you ride from Delhi to Vrindavan, you go out of Delhi and you start seeing the farms. Here, no, it's just one mall, one track, car dealership, at the real darshan of the gas and oil that's stored here. Okay. Anything else? Somebody try it.
So I love you said we want to enter into the land. We need to enter into the land of dedication instead of the land of exploitation. Again, I just thought it was like such a good advertising. Here, entering the land of exploitation, where we want to go is dedication.
But we don't want that.
Yeah.
Because in that land, dedication means an object of dedication, and it's not us. So we don't want that.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Jamuna Jaya.
Thank you, Mahārāja.
Anybody else? Say hello.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Well, Govinda.
Haribol.
Haribol.
You see how nicely I'm shaved?
Yeah, it looks great. You must have had the barber of the stars.
I got the best barber in the world. But he sets a very bad example. Because he himself doesn't shave. He himself doesn't shave. What right does he have to shave other people? Okay. Anybody else? Say hello. Question, reflection.
Just saying Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Okay, Haribol, Gail. Good. Henry, I heard your voice.
Hare Krishna, Mahārāja. I'm here in Bethesda, Washington. Thank you for a wonderful class.
Wow, you're back there, huh? What's your next destination?
I'm going to Dallas for the Rath Yatra next month.
Wow, really? I haven't heard of their Rath Yatra, but I guess it's just your place. Tamal Krishna Maharaj's Samadhi, so many friends there, Rakṣaka Swami. So it's just, wow.
I was just in Dallas last weekend, and I had the time of my life and some great time with Deva-Gosvāmī Swami, and at Tamal Krishna-Goswami's Samadhi was completely satisfying. I can't wait to get back there.
I can see. Wonderful. That's where I joined, Henry. That's where I joined Krishna consciousness, at the lotus feet of Radha Kalachandri. So I have my own memories there of Gurley Avenue. And yeah, wow. It's amazing, right? The vision of Tamal Krishna Maharaj to buy up all the houses in the neighborhood when they were $10,000 a house. That's what kind of neighbor it was.
Yes, I love that story. I've been sharing that while I was there, and
$10,000 a house, and they were buying houses. It's amazing, right? And that's what my explanation was, that America used to be a rich country.
And you know, he sent the devotees. The devotee told me that he went out and collected the money to buy the B.G. Sharma paintings. It cost $6,500 for all those B.G. Sharma paintings in the temple, and they just got appraised at $1 million.
Oh, wow, Henry. Oh, wow, huh? Amazing. What the dollar was worth in those days, too. Wow. Great. Okay, Henry, thanks for sharing that. I mean, Haridas, thanks for sharing that. Haribo. Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hey, ¿cómo estás, señor? You're still in Kali?
Yeah.
Yes, Maharaj.
When do you leave?
On 21.
Thursday.
Okay, you got a few more days. You can go to the juicery and have some juices on my behalf.
Okay, Maharaj.
Okay, nice to see you. We had such a wonderful time there, huh?
Yes, Maharaj.
Thank you for a wonderful class, Maharaj. Haribol.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Haribol. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. How are you?
It's about good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, maybe give me a call this week. We'll catch up, okay?
I will. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Great to see you. Haribol. And yeah, call me this week. I'm kind of have a real free week this week.
I will.
Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Sri Rupa.
Sri Rupa, Haribol. Right. Good. Okay, who else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Sri Radhika here.
What a wonderful kirtan you had at your house. That was wonderful.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
Thank you for giving me a portal to the Bhakti in the Middle East.
Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj.
That was great. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else?
Yudhisthira here, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. My obeisances.
Hi, Bo. Yudhisthira. Jai. Glories to Prabhupada. Nice to hear from you. Will I see you at the Rath Yatra this year?
You will. I'll be actually going to Sadhu Sanga with Adriana, and then Festival of the Holy Name after the Rath Yatra. So packed summer.
Wow. So you're going to the Sadhu Sanga retreat.
Then New York.
With your daughter.
No, with my wife.
With your wife. And then you'll go to the
New York Rath Yatra.
And then, all right, well, give me a text so we can at least catch up for a few minutes there, okay?
Jai, all glories to Prabhupada in your service.
Haribo, good. Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna. We're on our way to Easter service with Don Cayley's mom, and we're enjoying it in the car ourselves. Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for class.
Great. Maybe I'll visit you guys in June.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. I will. Anybody else? Okay, I see the list of people, so I know everybody that's there. And stay tuned tomorrow for Monday morning greetings. I really worked on it. Inherent in the culture of faith. Okay, Haribo.